We're so excited. It's Fit Friday. We're back. Guess who's with me?
Hello, hello. Coach Wanda here.
Coach Beth and Coach Wanda. I'm the life coach. She's the fit coach. We both believe the impact of our lifestyle is so important that we have decided to collaborate, as some of you have heard, on this topic so that we can make it reasonably easy for people to understand small steps towards a healthier lifestyle. So,
Yeah.
what's happening in a few weeks?
In a few weeks, I don't know if y'all can believe this. Well, Thanksgiving's right around the corner.
Turkey,
Christmas right around the corner. And
chocolate.
then New Year's. We got New Year's resolutions coming right around the corner, right? Yeah. So what happens with New Year's resolutions?
Yeah.
Health and fitness kind of comes into play. You start thinking about that. But if you can think about it through the next couple of months, that would be fantastic too. So if you can kind of stay on track in the next couple of months,
Yeah.
ideal. But going into the New Year's, making some New Year's resolutions, health and fitness is always at the top.
Well, and one of the things that, I always say is I just don't want to gain weight. That's that's
Mhm.
part of what I do during the holidays is if I could just have a proactive approach to not gaining weight,
Yeah.
then, that's my proactive plan because, you do want to be able to indulge a little bit, have a little fun. But the truth is, what we're going to talk about today is that can be costly. And I think we have to plan that in such a way that we're careful with everything we do because chronic disease in our nation is at an
Huge.
all-time high. And it is 1 in 5 people, 70, this is obesity statistics because a lot of the chronic diseases that we hear of stem from obesity. And our nation has become very comfortable with
Yeah.
obesity. And that's not good. And that is 70 million adults in the US are obese, 99 million are overweight. And the word obese, I looked it up, it means excessive weight. So some people have a little bit of weight,
Mhm.
some people have
Yeah.
excessive weight, and 30% more body fat than you need. I mean, that's your body fat.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah. And here in Louisiana, I know we've got viewers from all over. But you might want to check your state and see how you rank because here in Louisiana, it's not very good. So we rank 46th in the US in regards to obesity. And that, although the number sounds good, 46 sounds like a good number out of 50, that's not good because it's at the bottom.
yeah,
So we have some love for food here in Louisiana, and we like rich foods and
we do.
tasty foods and spicy foods and sweet foods.
Yeah.
And yeah, we're paying the price for it.
Well, and when you think about it, our health has been affected by our lifestyle all the way up until now. I mean, as a kid, I never once thought that, am I adding to my heart condition later in life now? But the truth is, yes. And that's so hard for people because you don't see it, you don't feel it, and you don't know it until later. But heart disease is a big deal for women. It's affects how many? Do you remember?
1 in 5, I feel like the statistic, 1 in 5, ladies, 1 in 5 female deaths in the US, heart disease is responsible for that.
And
It's a big number.
some of that is hereditary.
Yeah.
Some of that is dietary and lifestyle, and some of that is just the years going by, and we don't realize the decisions that we make are really impacting our health. So,
Yeah.
what are things that we can do to recognize? I mean, where we are is where we are. We can't say, well, let's just get healthy. I can remember, I was 20 pounds heavier than I am now. Back when it was a long time ago, but I blamed everything and everybody, and I was like, well, it's just bloating, and it's just.
Mhm.
And somebody finally said to me, "Girl, that's 20 pounds. That is, you cannot name that something else." And I'm like, oh, I did not want to face the fact
Yeah.
that I had 20 pounds to lose. That's a lot of pounds to lose. So, um, I think we have to give ourselves credit for being able to say, okay, here's who I am, here's where I am, and what does that mean about what I want to do?
Right. And what are some steps that I can make in the right direction? Because, you don't have to take a giant leap. You don't want to stand up and suddenly say, I'm going to run a half marathon tomorrow, although that might be a goal in your future. But the steps to getting, further down the road would be, walking 10 minutes a day, or especially after you have a meal, going for a 10-minute, 15-minute walk helps with your metabolism. It helps with your mood as well. Because sometimes when you're in an unhealthy state, then you're going to experience some depression too. So, that usually goes hand in hand. So getting outside and getting that walk, getting that activity, is not only going to make you feel better physically, but it does a lot for your mental health as well.
Now, our mental health is so often us sabotaging ourselves.
Mhm.
And I often say that the commitments we make to ourselves are the commitments we keep first, because if we say, I'm not going to drink a Coke today, or I'm not going to have caffeine today, or I'm not going to eat sugar
Mhm.
today, and then we give in, then we're going to beat ourselves up after
Yeah.
that. And we're going to feel like an epic failure. And it's going to be because we didn't keep the commitments we made to ourselves. So I think the sense of identity and a sense of self comes from being able to and then tomorrow could be a new day.
Tomorrow is always a new day, always a new day for better decisions the next day.
Yeah.
Yeah, and speaking of sugar, the other one of the other diagnoses, chronic diseases that comes along with obesity is diabetes.
Yes.
And here in the state of Louisiana, again, we rank way up there with diabetes, because it's a direct link to obesity. And again, it's a direct link to our food choices and our lifestyle here. Hereditary things, you mentioned that earlier, and that comes into play as well. And I'm going to share a quick story because I
Okay.
thought about this on the way here. Diabetes. So my grandmother, I remember this. This is how far back my health and fitness memory goes.
Wow.
So my grandmother, my grandfather was in the hospital, and he was passing, and I was 10 or 11 years old, and I remember my grandmother being winded walking to the elevator. And in my head, at 10 or 11 years old, I'm thinking, oh, she's old. She's old, so she's having a hard time breathing. But later in life, I learned that my grandmother was obese. I didn't really see that as a 10-year-old. She was just a big woman. She was only 60.
My age.
She was 60, and she was winded, and she struggled. But, as I got older, I began to appreciate, all of the illness that she had, diabetes. She had diabetes. And later on, this is a couple of years later, she lost both of her legs, had to have both of her legs amputated because of diabetes. But because she didn't want to change her lifestyle, she didn't know better, and she didn't learn better, and she didn't do better. And I think we have a lot of information now that our grandparents didn't have,
Right.
and our parents didn't have.
Mhm.
So there's really no excuse. I mean, I'm just going to lay it out there as a fitness coach. There's no excuse to not do better,
Right.
choose better for yourself,
Right.
because, this is your body
And you
and
got
your
to walk in
future.
it every day. You
And
only
you
get
have,
one.
yes, yes,
And
yes.
yeah, and I'll
Right.
share another story that I'm within my weight range. I work out a lot. I have a healthy lifestyle. But 2 years in a row, my doctor said your glucose is elevated, and I wasn't near diabetes, but I'm like, oh my gosh, what is it
Yeah,
that I'm doing or eating? Or what is it that's causing my glucose to be so high?
yeah.
You know what it was?
But
Protein bars, sugar-filled
oh yeah,
protein bars. I'm thinking I'm on a run. I mean, I'm on the move, and
yeah.
I'm going to go out and I'm going to grab a protein bar. And they had so much levels of sugar that it was more than I needed in an entire day.
Yeah.
And so then when you added in carbs that turn to sugar and things like that, I could have become a diabetic eating healthy. So
Yeah.
I had to get rid of the protein bars and then begin to look at what's in them,
Yes.
because you really do have to read the ingredients. And we talked about our nation is at an unhealthy epidemic level.
Yeah.
Not only do we have obesity off the charts, we have these diagnoses of people that are sick.
Mm-hmm.
And some of that is not within our control, but a great deal of it is. And a lot of that starts with lifestyle, and it starts with choices, everyday choices.
Mm-hmm.
When I get up 4 or 5 pounds, am I going to say, okay, I'm up 4 or 5 pounds and do something about it? Or am I going to let that get to be 8 or 9?
Right. Right.
And my go-to when that happens, which that does happen, is I do intermittent fasting. I'll go from dinner to lunch without eating, and that gets me back in check because it reminds me
Mm.
that I've gotten a little loose with my habits,
Mm-hmm.
and it helps me to cut back on calories.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Absolutely. Paying attention to what you're eating and what's in what you're eating,
yeah,
because you're right. And people, when they grab something that says healthy, because those bars say healthy all over them,
right.
they're promoted as a healthy option. The shakes, the prepared protein shakes, the proteins, all these new foods that are now combining protein, and they're promoting them as healthy options. Now, not to say that they may not be a healthier option when you're comparing it to a bag of donuts or something. Yeah, it might be the better option. But when you compare that to, you know, 2 eggs and maybe a slice of uncured turkey bacon, or, something that's wholesome and nutritious and that's going to give your body the fuel that it needs, then no, it's not a comparison.
Right.
Right.
Another thing that, my mom had osteoarthritis. So she was hunched over.
Mm.
She led a pretty much healthy lifestyle. My mom ate what she wanted, but she called the best exercise in the world push back, push away from the table. She ate tiny portions. The moment she felt satisfied, she would push away from the table. But by the time she got to that point in her life, arthritis had already set in. So her doctors said to us girls in the family, you need to stave that off now. You need to be lifting, you need to be strengthening, and you need to be preventative. Otherwise, you're going to be where your mom is. She had a lot of health problems with arthritis. So it's on me to decide to come into this gym
Mm-hmm.
and do the lifting, do the workouts that I need to do. Otherwise, if I get arthritis, it's on me.
Yeah.
The
Same
doctor
thing.
told me that.
Yeah. And you know what? I'm glad you said that, because it was the same thing for me. If I don't watch, I have a family history of diabetes,
Yep.
and that's a terrible disease.
Yep.
I don't want that. So I am extremely attentive to that. Have
Yep.
my sugar, my insulin tested, just being preventive.
Mm-hmm.
Again, if you've got a family history like that.
And my dad died of a heart attack. I think he was 58 or 59. Now, he smoked 2 packs of unfiltered Camel cigarettes a day. He drank, he took pills. His lifestyle was basically uh, unhealthy. Let's just say everything about it was unhealthy. And his mindset was not very healthy. But because of that, because that's in my family, every time I go to my doctor, and I want to talk about this because this is very important. Going to my doctor, I'll say to him, "Look, this happened. I felt a little dizzy. I felt a little this," and he checks me carefully to make sure that that's not something that I'm ignoring,
Yeah.
because it's so important. But here's one of the things I think this is a big topic, and maybe we need to do a whole show on this. Is white coat syndrome.
Mm-hmm.
And who loves going to the doctor? No, no hands are raised.
No, no. But what an even more incentive to make healthier decisions, and to motivate yourself to be a little more active if you've got that fear of the doc, right?
Yeah.
You don't want to go to the doctor. You don't want to be there. You don't want to pay because you're going to pay as well,
Yeah.
monetarily,
Mhm.
as well as with your health. So it's like, yeah, it's a win-win to stay ahead of those things.
And it's important for me to not wimp out
Mhm.
and go on to the doctor. And that doesn't mean I'm going to do everything that he says to do, because, they do want to put you, if I have high anxiety, he's going to want to put me on anxiety meds. I've tried that. I did that. It didn't work for me.
Mhm.
That doesn't mean I'm going to do that. But it does mean that I keep my blood pressure and my blood counts and everything in good order, because those are signs of health or reduced health. So I think we do go to doctors. I have a friend that has just overcome cancer and had just gone through a lot of treatment, but she had a nutritionist on the side helping her, studying
Mhm.
what the side effects were going to do to her body, and then she was replenishing with the health dietitian, replenishing her body of what was being
Being
wiped
bought.
out of it.
Yeah.
And she equally credits her doctor prayer, but also the nutritionist who was saying, you're going to have a deficiency in these vitamins, so let's get you on this. And so I think there's a place for those people in our lives, because
Yeah.
our foods
Yeah.
don't have all the nutrition that we need.
Right. Right. And you can't get everything that you need in every meal. So yeah, supplementing with vitamins, good vitamins, because you do have to pay attention to that too, because the vitamin industry and supplement industry has there's hundreds of thousands of options, and they are not created equally.
Right.
I had an experience in that with my doctor. I was taking a vitamin D supplement. I had gone in, had my lab work done, had a little deficiency in vitamin D, which a lot of us women do. So he told me to grab a supplement and take that. So I went to a store and got a vitamin D, Whole Foods vitamin D. And I took it and I went back 3 months later and there was no change in my vitamin D. It was zero, nothing. He's like, have you been taking your supplements? I'm like, yes, I'm on it. And he's like, which one? I told him. He said, okay, well, this is the problem. Not all are created the same. So let me get you something from our office and you can take it, and go on with that. And you can order it. I can still order it. So now I know,
Mm-hmm.
and I wish he would have said that to me the first visit, but we learn.
So let's wrap up by saying it's important to acknowledge where we are. It's important for me to know where I really am in my health and fitness goals, not where I just wish I am,
Right.
where I really am.
Right.
And it's important to then have goals to help me get to where I'm going to go. I mean, what is
Yeah.
my plan for this?
Yeah.
And how do you help women mostly, in the meantime? Uh-oh, I sprained an ankle. I'm not going to be able to do running for a while, but what can I do? And I
Mhm.
think we have to plan for that, right?
You do. Or if something happens, you don't just completely lay down. Like, oh, I hurt my elbow. Well, I can't do anything. Don't take that mentality. Don't come
Right.
at it from that direction. Just come at it from, I'm going to have to modify some things. No big deal.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to still, maintain my health and my fitness. This is just a little bump in the road. You can, stay with your nutrition. Certainly, if you have a physical injury, your nutrition can still be on point. But if you've got a physical injury, there are modifications that you can do.
Yeah.
Recumbent biking or ellipticals are very easy on the joints, so you're not walking or running and things like that. So there are always
Yeah.
things that you can do for workarounds.
And when you look at the serious things that so many people are dealing with, is heart disease.
Mhm.
I mean, obesity is an epidemic, and if you fall in that category, that's something that you can begin to work on with your doctor, with a health coach, and begin to get that under control, because that will result in hypertension,
Mhm.
anxiety, beating yourself up every time you eat something,
Mhm.
because it just becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Oh my gosh, this is not work. I can't go on a diet. It doesn't work for me.
Yeah.
But when you think of the heart issue and you think of
Diabetes.
blood pressure,
Mhm.
diabetes, all these things, then it's worth it to just make those small adjustments
Yeah.
that have big results.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
So what's your plan? You have to think about, what are you doing? Are you accepting where you are today? Do you need to lose weight? There are some people that need to gain weight. There are people that have goals, and change doesn't happen by chance. Change happens because you've made changes.
Yeah.
You don't have to give up everything you like and love. You just have to cut back, and you have to really monitor,
Monitor,
pay attention to what you're really doing, because you can wake up 3 days later and have 4 or 5 extra pounds, and it's a lot easier to put it on than it is to take it
It
off.
is.
Dang it, what's up with that?
I know, especially during the holidays. So,
Especially during the holidays.
super attentive. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But as we get towards going into 2025, we're coming up on November and December. It's going to be very tempting to just let go and have fun. But, I'm saying right here, right now, I'm hoping that I let go and have fun within reason.
Yeah.
And keep myself from packing on a bunch of pounds, because then that's just going to start my 2025 off where I'm not feeling good about what I've done and the choices that I've made. And I'm responsible to me for what I do for me. Right?
Right. Right. Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So think in terms of your long-term goals and begin to make decisions that put you in a situation where you can become successful. It's really a one-on-one kind of deal.
It is. It is. It's you against you.
It's you
It really
against you.
is.
That's really
Yeah.
well said. And environment plays a big role. It's good to be in a gym. It's good to be around people that are health minded. Those are all very important. And it's good to walk away from situations that sabotage your health. And again, we say no thank you is a complete sentence when it comes to doing things that are, sabotaging your overall mental health, because physical health really determines your mental health. How you feel about you is how you carry you into the world. And that's why we're doing this, is because we want to feel good about who we are, and we want to help others feel good about who they are.
Yep. That's the ticket right there.
So here we are with Fit Fridays. It's Beth and Wanda. We're out again. We hope that some of our just open and honest discussions are helpful, and help us all get to a place where we can say, you know what? I'm going to be my best advocate, and I'm going to do what's best for me, regardless of what everybody else is doing.
Regardless.
Regardless.
I think that bears to be said twice.
Yeah. No, thank you.
No,
It's a
thank you.
complete sentence. And,
Yeah.
when you go to lunch or you go to dinner, you can say no, thank you to things that, maybe you don't want. And it feels really great when you do that for yourself.
Yeah, it does.
It feels empowering, and then you can do it. So, Fit Friday, we're out. We hope you have a great weekend. And next week we're coming back. We don't know what our topic is, but we'll decide by then, and we'll let you know. And if you have any suggestions, put them in the comments. Everybody have a
Absolutely.
great weekend.
Absolutely.